Lois Griffin is a serial cheater. Presidents, rock stars, her daughter's boyfriend, and even a teenage pop star. The woman who lectures Peter about responsibility, she's got a nickname in Quahog, Loose Lois. So today, we're counting down every time Lois actually cheated on Peter, and number 1 is gonna make you lose respect for her completely. Starting off at number 5, Lois's wild past with 80s rock bands. And trust me, it was wild. Before she married Peter, Lois had a thing for rock stars. We're talking Jake Gales, Daryl Hall, Gene Simmons from Kiss, and even the pyro guy from Whitesnake. Yeah, the pyro guy. Not even the lead singer. The guy who handles the explosions. Now, technically, most of these relationships happened before marriage, so maybe they don't count as cheating in the legal sense. But here's the thing, Lois brings them up constantly. She reminisces about her glory days with these famous musicians, and Peter just has to sit there and take it. Every time one of their songs comes on the radio, Lois gets this nostalgic smile, while Peter dies a little inside. The most brutal moment happens at a Kiss concert. The band's performing Rock and Roll All Night, and they point the mic at Lois to finish the iconic line. This is her moment, her chance to prove she's still got that rock star energy, and she completely chokes. And have a wonderful time? The crowd goes silent. Peter's mortified. Gene Simmons looks confused. But the real issue isn't that Lois forgot the lyrics after sleeping with the guy who wrote them. It's that she's still clearly hung up on Gene Simmons decades later. Whenever his name comes up, she gets that dreamy, faraway look in her eyes, like she's mentally back in the 80s, touring with Kiss instead of doing laundry in Quahog. Meanwhile, Peter's sitting right there, watching as his wife publicly fantasizes about her rock star ex-boyfriends. The pattern's already forming. Lois wants the stable life with Peter and the excitement of her wild past with famous men. She wants the reliable husband and the rock star life. But she can't have both. And it gets way worse from here.
You changed your name.
Lois. I don't believe it. It's been ages. Hey guys, this...
Coming in at number 4, Jerome, Lois's ex-boyfriend who becomes Peter's best friend, creating the most awkward situation imaginable. When Cleveland moves away to pursue his own spin-off show, Peter's devastated. He needs a new drinking buddy, someone to fill that empty bar stool at the Drunken Clam. Enter Jerome. Cool, confident, successful, and everything Peter wishes he could be. They hit it off immediately. Peter's thrilled to have found a new best friend, until he discovers that Jerome and Lois used to date. Not just a casual fling either. They had a serious long-term relationship. Back during Lois's wild days, before she settled down with Peter, Peter completely loses his mind. Think about it from his perspective. His new best friend, the guy he's been bonding with for weeks, used to sleep with his wife. And everyone in Quahog apparently knew about it except Peter. The jealousy consumes him to the point where he literally tries to destroy Jerome's house in a fit of rage. But here's what makes the situation so brutal for Peter. Lois and Jerome stay friendly, comfortable. They share inside jokes, they reminisce about old times. To them, their past relationship is ancient history. No big deal. To Peter, it's a massive deal. Because every single time Jerome's around, Peter's forced to confront the fact that his wife was with someone cooler, more successful, more confident, and frankly, more attractive than he'll ever be. It's a constant reminder that Lois settled when she chose Peter, and that reminder never goes away. Because Jerome isn't some distant ex, he's Peter's drinking buddy. Talk about psychological torture. But this uncomfortable situation with an ex-boyfriend? That's nothing compared to what comes next.
You guys know each other?
Know each other? Peter, Jerome is an old boyfriend of mine.
Sliding into number 3, the time Lois almost seals the deal with Quagmire. And honestly, the only thing that stops it is a biological miracle. Here's the setup. Peter hits his head and gets amnesia. He completely forgets who Lois is, forgets their marriage, forgets their kids, everything. So Lois does what any reasonable person would do. She moves out with the kids to a crappy apartment in the worst part of town. That's when Quagmire spots his golden opportunity. His best friend's wife is suddenly single, vulnerable, and living alone. After decades of lusting after Lois, this is finally his shot. So he invites her to dinner at his place. And Lois, somehow not picking up on the fact that Quagmire has been openly hitting on her for literal decades, says yes. Come on, Lois, you know what dinner at Quagmire's house means. Everyone knows what that means. That night, Quagmire pulls out his classic move. He pretends to be drunk and asks Lois to help him upstairs to his bedroom. She does, and before you know it, they're in bed together, clothes coming off, about to cross the line. So what stops them? Lois says something that completely kills Quagmire's mood. She mentions that if Peter never comes back, at least she's grateful to be in the arms of a trusted friend. Turns out genuine emotional intimacy is Quagmire's kryptonite. His body just shuts down, complete performance failure, right there in the moment. And that's the only reason the affair doesn't happen. Not because Lois changes her mind, but because Quagmire's biology betrays him. She's lived next door to Quagmire for years. She's seen him hit on her in every single opportunity. She's watched him leer at her through the window. She knows his reputation. When Quagmire invites her to his house for dinner, she knows what he wants. And she goes anyway. She helps him upstairs anyway. She gets in his bed anyway. That's not naivete. That's not confusion. That's a conscious decision. The affair doesn't happen because of morality. It's prevented because of a biological technicality. And honestly, that might make it worse.
Peter's never coming back to me. It's at least nice to know I'm in the arms of a trusted friend.
Coming in at number 2, we've got the time Lois makes out with her own daughter's boyfriend and somehow manages to make herself the victim. Meg finally lands a normal boyfriend. His name's Anthony, and he's actually a decent kid. Not a criminal, not a weirdo, just a regular teenage boy. Peter and Lois should be thrilled, but instead, Peter starts making jokes about Lois getting old, about how she's not as attractive as she used to be, about how she's past her prime. This sends Lois spiraling into a full-blown midlife crisis. She starts dressing younger, acting younger, and worst of all, she sets her sights on Anthony, a teenage boy, dating her daughter. Let that sink in for a second. One day when Peter's at work and Meg's at school, Lois invites Anthony over to the house. She hands him a piece of paper with Peter's work schedule, her menstrual cycle, and when she's available. Your husband's work schedule and my menstrual cycle are on there too, but I don't mind if you don't. Anthony, being a teenage boy with zero life experience and questionable judgment, is somehow into it. Wow, this is so cool. I've never had a MILF come on to me before. And just like that, they start making out on the living room couch. That's exactly when Meg walks in. She forgot her keys and comes back to grab them, only to find her own mother hooking up with her boyfriend in the family living room. Picture Meg's face in that moment. This is a girl who already struggles with self-esteem, who finally found someone who likes her, who thought things were going well for once. And her own mother just destroyed all of that in the most humiliating way possible. The betrayal is complete and absolute. So what does Lois do? Does she take full responsibility? Does she apologize sincerely and face the consequences? Nope. She pulls the classic Lois move. She blames Peter. She tells Peter that he made her feel old and insecure, so really, this is his fault for not complimenting her enough. And Peter, being the spineless idiot that he is, actually apologizes to her. No consequences for Lois, no accountability, just another situation where she gets away with it completely. But even this pales in comparison to number 1.
Do my gray hairs bother you?
What gray hairs?
Kiss me!
Finally, at number 1, the affair that tops them all and perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with Lois? Bill Clinton. Former President Bill Clinton visits Quahog to judge the annual Miss USA contest, because apparently that's what former presidents do in their free time. His limo breaks down right in front of the Griffin house, and Peter, being the helpful idiot he is, offers assistance. Clinton's so grateful that they become instant best friends. But Clinton turns out to be a terrible influence. He gets Peter into all kinds of trouble, encouraging reckless behavior and bad decisions. When Lois sees Peter stumbling home looking rough after a night out with Bill, she's had enough. She marches over to Clinton's hotel room to give him a piece of her mind, ready to tell off a former president for corrupting her sweet, innocent idiot of a husband. Big mistake. Huge. Because the next thing you know, Peter walks into the hotel room and finds Lois and Bill Clinton in bed together. Let that sink in. Lois slept with a former US president while married, while supposedly going there to defend her husband. And somehow, Peter's the one who ends up looking stupid. But wait, it gets worse. This whole affair comes out later during a game of I Never, where the Griffin family is sharing secrets. Lois casually admits she slept with Bill Clinton like it's a fun anecdote, not a massive betrayal. Peter's absolutely devastated. The man who can fight a giant chicken for 10 minutes straight can't handle his wife hooking up with the most powerful man on Earth. And you know what Lois says? "I've slept with a lot worse, Peter." Wait, what does that mean, Lois? A lot worse than the President of the United States? Who else is on this list that we don't know about? Peter's sitting there having a complete emotional breakdown, while Lois acts like he's being overdramatic. She barely shows any remorse, no real apology, just annoyance that Peter's upset about the whole thing. To make it fair, Lois tells Peter he can sleep with anyone he wants as payback. Any guesses who Peter chooses? Lois's mother, Barbara. Yeah, Peter goes for the nuclear option. But in a classic Family Guy twist, Peter doesn't actually go through with sleeping with his mother-in-law. Instead, he somehow ends up getting seduced by Bill Clinton too. So Lois cheats with the president, offers Peter revenge sex with her own mother to make up for it, and somehow the situation ends with Peter looking like the ridiculous one. Classic Lois. Cheat, manipulate, and somehow come out on top. No consequences, no real apology, just business as usual in the Griffin household.
Mr. President, I need to have a word with you. Wow, you've said.
So let's recap. Rock stars, her ex-boyfriend Jerome, quagmire, almost, her daughter's teenage boyfriend, and a US president. Every affair involves someone with power, fame, or status. The life Lois gave up when she married Peter. Here's what people miss. Lois grew up rich. Billionaire father, country club, mansion with servants. She gives it all up for Peter, a brewery worker who can barely pay the bills. Every person she cheats with represents that old life. Clinton, power, rock stars, fame, Jerome, success. Peter's the opposite of everything she was raised to value. Maybe she regrets her choice. Maybe every affair is her trying to reclaim what she sacrificed. She wants stability with Peter and excitement with powerful men. But she can't have both. So she cheats. Over and over. Lois isn't just betraying Peter, she's betraying the decision she made when she chose him. So there it is, every confirmed time Lois cheated on Peter, from rock stars to presidents to her own daughter's boyfriend. And Peter still doesn't know about all of it. Lois is either the world's best liar, or Peter's even dumber than we thought. Probably both. If you're into these kinds of breakdowns, go ahead and subscribe. We've got plenty more Family Guy chaos coming. And let us know in the comments below. Who do you think is the real problem in the marriage here? I'll see you next time.